I always believed that in the short notice replacement fight against Brian Ortega that Frankie got a little complacent. I'm not taking away from Ortega's win. That punch literally lifted the answer off of his feet. It was one of the most picture-perfect uppercuts you'll ever see in this sport. But after Edgar was faced with the huge disappointment of the long-awaited featherweight title fight slipping through his fingers yet again when Max Holloway was forced out of competition for UFC 222, I just had the sense that the Edgar we saw step in against Brian Ortega just simply didn't give his counterpart the proper respect he should have, and paid the ultimate price for it. There is a lot to take into account when you see these guys and girls take short notice fights. It has a psychological effect, for better or for worse, that only people who step in there to compete could possibly understand. And I just feel like the internal disruption of having to take on lesser competition on paper that Frankie was preparing for caused him to be a little less cautious than he otherwise would have been. Either way, in true Frankie Edgar fashion, after suffering a devastating knockout that would make most folks not only question themselves but their future in the sport, goes out there and takes a fight just 49 days later and wins against Cub Swanson, essentially undoing his loss to Ortega and positioning himself as next in line for the featherweight title shot. And this weekend, when the UFC Octagon touches down in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Edgar and Holloway is booked for the second time, and while there's still plenty of time for injuries and people missing weight, it seems as though the fight that probably should have happened a really long time ago is finally going to commence. I haven't even looked at the Vegas odds, but I have to assume Max Holloway is the favorite in this contest. Despite the fact he's coming off of a loss, his body of work over the past 5 years has been some of the most impressive stuff we've seen. Hence Holloway's profile skyrocketing over the past few years, and rightfully so. He has earned his place in the spotlight. That same spotlight is the one that was once on Edgar, dating as far back as 2010 when he claimed the lightweight world title as an undersized 155-pounder against the all-time great BJ Penn. 9 years ago. Can you imagine? And even after 3 title defenses, there are many fans out there that are going to tell you that Edgar got the raw deal on both Benson Henderson fights, in which he lost the title and then failed in his attempt to reclaim the gold. Since that time, Edgar has had some big moments, some impressive wins and a few losses, 2 of which were against the consensus greatest featherweight in the world, at least for now. The number of events and in turn the number of fights have increased significantly, with less time to properly process this past weekend's fights because we're already looking forward to next weekend's. Through it all, while remaining very relevant in the weight class, it's been quite some time since the spotlight's been on Edgar. Almost to the point to where you feel like things are just a little too far gone, and the prospect of being the king of the hill again is just in the rearview mirror for the answer as he winds down the latter part of his career. It's reasonable to have that take. But us MMA fans have such short memories and severe recency bias. You're only as good as your last fight in this game. It seems like nobody is considering the fact that the technical, straight down the pipe, well-placed punches of Edgar won't match perfectly with Holloway's looping style of throwing punches. And that the tenacity of Edgar might enable him to capitalize on the featherweight champion coming off of his first loss since 2013. Holloway does not stop, but neither does Frankie. This fight is a lot closer than most will give it credit for. And though I believe most likely the outcome is going to be going to the judges' scorecards as opposed to a second round stoppage by the challenger, it's always when something in this sport seems like a foregone conclusion that the MMA gods come and put us right back in our place. Be prepared for the wily vet Frankie Edgar to go out there this Saturday night and reach the top of the hill once again.